We are back at the Edmonton Global Hydrogen Hub stage. Welcome to our panelists here. My name is Darrel Petras. I'm the Vice President of Programs and Business Development at Edmonton Unlimited. Edmonton Unlimited is helping elevate Edmonton as a global innovation capital, and we do this in part by offering free programming to tech and innovative company startups. Examples of our programming include accelerator training, cohort-based learning. We have customized one-to-one support where we help the companies identify their needs, and then with the company, we'll go out and seek the expertise they need to get to their next milestone. Our newest program is Capital City Pilots, where we work with the City of Edmonton to identify municipal challenges that don't have off-the-shelf solutions. Once the challenges are identified, we turn to our innovation community, our startups, our early growth companies, and we look for those solutions and bring them back to our municipality. I'm going to turn to our panelists here now and a little bit about the format. I'll do a round of introductions and then we'll move into some questions. So starting to my left here, we have Mr. Jag Singh, Director of Business Development with SBI Bioenergy. And I know SBI Bioenergy has some deep roots in the city. You've focused on renewable fuels for some time. I'd love to hear a little bit more about where you're at, Jag. Over to you.
Sure, thank you. It's nice to be here. We're now moving from renewable fuels, which was a technology we licensed to Shell, into hydrogen, and it's carbon negative, modular, renewable hydrogen units that are made from ethanol. So it's much less water, 10 times less than electrolysis, and much less than SMR as well. So really excited to explore that.
Fantastic, thank you for sharing. Dr. David Antoniuk, you and I have known each other for a few years. I followed your success spinning out a company out of the U of A, a technology company. I'm here to learn more, and I know our audience is too, about your newest endeavor, which is dark matter materials.
Thank you, Darrel. Yes, about a year ago, we were approached by some more researchers from the U of A and had some really interesting ideas about developing hydrogen using a nano catalyst. And so we decided that it would be best to form a new company and focus directly on the hydrogen production. So dark matter materials was incorporated in July 2022. And now we are building systems and reaching out, doing a lot of business development.
Building systems and reaching out for business development in less than a year. Fantastic, congratulations. Siva Subramanian, I know you're a co-founder of Nanodes and you're focused on green hydrogen utilization. Love to learn more.
Hi, good evening everybody. My name is Siva. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nanodes, a clean tech startup based from the University of Toronto. We are specializing in nanotechnology enhanced electrolyzers, electrodes and catalysts for alkaline water electrolyzers. And our technology has been patented and proven in lab scale, and we recently incorporated our company in Ontario, and we are currently on the lookout for strategic partners.
Fantastic, thank you for sharing that. Our final panelist here, Tricia Connett, co-founder of H2 Link, connecting users and producers of hydrogen, if I'm not mistaken. Please introduce us.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to be here today. I'm Tricia. I'm the co-founder of H2 Link. My co-founder Todd is out in the audience somewhere. And our business is a software as a solution platform that basically looks at the supply chain of hydrogen and how to make it more efficient, how to make it cost effective, and how to make it more resilient.
Fantastic. I have so many questions for each of you. Let's get started. Jag, what are the benefits of using ethanol compared to other liquid carriers for hydrogen fuel? I think this probably speaks to one of the core components of your business.
Yeah, that's right. We can use ethanol and methanol, but we're focusing on ethanol as it's renewable. So one of the benefits is it's renewable now, and we still allow, this is the first time people can grow their own energy efficiently and using it as a fuel, whether it's a transport fuel or electricity or heat, because hydrogen is so flexible, it can be used anywhere, as everybody knows. And we capture the CO2 that's released from the ethanol, which the plants absorb during photosynthesis, so that helps us also be carbon negative. So now we have an opportunity to have carbon negative renewable hydrogen. Ethanol is a better carrier as well, since in the same amount of volume you can get more than 5 times compressed hydrogen, more than double liquid hydrogen, and almost double the amount of ammonia. So much more compact hydrogen carrier as well as a source of hydrogen.
So efficiency is the name of the game, what I'm gathering, and you guys are nailing the efficiency.
That's right, yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Dr. Antoniuk, question for you. I'm really curious. I understand Dark Matter Materials has coined a new description rather than a color for hydrogen. Can you explain what you mean by dark hydrogen?
Yes. Well, everybody's got their own color. Depends how, energy intensive it is or how green it is. So green is not actually that green. It's still pretty energy intensive. But when we came up with this new technology, the materials that we had were gray, dark brown, black. They were dark. And it turns out that the chemical reaction that we have with the catalyst works in the dark. So we said, this is just dark hydrogen. You take all the colors and you put it all together, and what do you get? You get dark. You get black or dark brown. So that's kind of where we came up with the word dark.
Fantastic, fantastic. Just a follow-up question on that. I have a follow-up question for you. So the dark matter, how's the fact that the dark matter materials make hydrogen from any type of water? If I understand your model correctly, without electrolysis, it does it without electrolysis at basically room temperature. How does it change the traditional way of producing hydrogen?
So what happens is the whole model changes. So if we can produce hydrogen on site, on demand, with any source of water, you can do it anywhere. So there's no compression, cryogenics, there's no distribution, storage, none of that's required. You can just do it. In fact, we're doing it right now at the booth, at the U of A booth right now. It's just sitting on the table, a little water, we just pour a little water in and it runs. And you produce your hydrogen. That hydrogen comes directly. So it changes the whole business model and the whole economics of all this cost required to get the hydrogen from the production to the end user. You take out all the middle part.
Wow, impactful. Thank you for sharing that.
So what happens is that your overall cost is 1/3 of anything that anybody else can produce.
Fantastic, fantastic. Siva, over to you. What do you think will be the role of green hydrogen in the hydrogen economy, and how, so 2 questions built into one here, how will it affect net zero?
So, as we all know, green hydrogen is fairly new, and it has a very strong potential to tap into the entire hydrogen economy. The hydrogen economy on its whole is rapidly evolving, and although the current market share of green hydrogen is just 4%, it has a very strong potential with an annual CAGR of 30% to reach up to $60 billion. And the main thing about green hydrogen is it needs a lot of combined effort from investments to continuous R&D and also government policy supports. And green hydrogen has the potential to be a very possible alternate resource of fossil fuels. And when it comes to net zero, as we all know, the better and renewable technology that we develop, the earlier we develop, the better it is.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, Tricia, a question for you. Can you talk a little bit, this is kind of a general question, but I'll throw it at you anyway. Can you talk about the challenges in the hydrogen supply chain? Kind of a global question, if you will. Yeah. And I'd invite others to jump in on this question as well, if you like.
Yeah, for sure. That's a 30,000-foot question for sure, but certainly supply chains are very complex, and they come with lots of challenges that a lot of people don't necessarily understand. I come from the oil and gas background, working in pipelines and all that kind of stuff. So transporting fluids is nothing new to me. So ultimately, it's a chicken and egg scenario. What's going to come first, the supply or the demand? We've got these gentlemen here focused really strongly on the supply side. So what's going to bring that demand, and what's going to come in between? There hasn't been a lot of focus on that. So whether that's transporting by truck, by rail, by pipelines, a little bit of everything in between, there's a lot of analysis that needs to go into that to understand it better, including what are the costs associated with that supply chain, what are those transportation costs that can create a big problem in the financial aspect of the final decisions of these things, as well as what does that route look like? What does your market look like? Are you looking at a local market? Are you looking at a broader market? And then as well as what is the risk and the safety profile of your transportation routes? So our platform is going to tackle all of those. Whether you're an end user, a supplier, or a transporter, you can really dial into those things on our platform and really clarify that.
Fantastic. I'm going to invite our other panelists to comment, if you like, on supply chain as well, because I know it impacts each one of you. Did that cover it in your opinion, or would you like to add any more to it?
Yeah, I could add a little bit as well. Going along the lines of ethanol as being a liquid fuel and us already being able to transport liquid fuels. On top of that, ethanol can be stored at standard temperature and pressure in regular vessels. So that's also increasing the usability and how to get this fuel everywhere as an input to our unit and what everybody else is doing here, trying to do, solving the problems for hydrogen, which are how to move it and store it and produce it even. So.
Fantastic. Any other thoughts?
One of the issues that we were discussing with a company was that if you can take the hydrogen and add nitrogen, you can make ammonia. You can make it anywhere. And you don't have to transport it across the ocean, to Europe.
Right.
So the Europeans figured, okay, this makes sense because I could just take it from seawater. I can make my ammonia and my supply chain is eliminated. All I need is the components to build the reactor systems. So it's fundamental shift in the way people would use and these products and implement them into the economy.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for that, Dr. Antoniuk. All right, let's jump into some more specific questions. Shiva, I'm going to come back to you if you don't mind. What are the challenges you foresee for a clean tech hardware startup?
So for any hardware startup, the first thing that comes is scalability. So when you scale up your project, it basically scales up the capital cost, which is the capex and the opex. So that basically translates to having a very balanced supply chain, which our company is giving. And also the other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, as your capital increases, for our company is fairly new. We are very recently started. Once we started to delve into the startup ecosystem, the first advice that we got was it is as important as how important it is to find a proper team member. It is as important to find a mentor and an investor. So your investor should be somebody who is interested in long-term returns. And hardware startups are not that fancy as looking at software startups. And for an hardware startup, finding the right investor matters a lot. And that was one important takeaway that we understood.
Fantastic, fantastic. Tricia, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come back and actually revisit that supply chain issue or challenge. Opportunity, we should probably say. Can you pick an immediate concern, so a top concern, that must be addressed in the hydrogen supply chain?
It's definitely down to that market analysis and understanding either where you're going to get your hydrogen from or how it's going to be supplied. Say, for example, do you want to get it as locally as possible? Is that even an option for you? Is it going to be a more broad market that you want to access? And so then what does that look like when you bring that back into your supply chain? Because as we've all learned for the last few years, disruptions in supply chains cost money, and they're very painful for industries. So just having that supply chain resiliency and understanding your market, how it's going to get there, what that looks like, what the cost of it is, and then as those supply chains adjust over time, how does that change things for your financials, your risk, etc.
Thank you so much, Tricia. Our short time together goes by so quickly. I'm sure each of you would like to have a conversation now that you've heard more about each other, and I know I have a number of follow-up questions. What I'm hearing, though, is your companies, your technologies, have so many contact points in the industry. It's about collaboration. It's really about collaboration. And I appreciate the opportunity here with Edmonton Global to build those collaborations, build those networks, and help you connect with each other and the community. So with that, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I know you'll be here at the conference for a little while to take any questions in person.